Hello, everyone. Welcome to AG Triathlon for a race recap episode. Today I have with me Jack Hutchens, who not only won Ironman 70.3 Mallorca in the age group category 2 weekends ago, but he also added Outlaw half Nottingham last weekend. Hi, Jack. How are you doing?
Hello. Yes, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
All good, thank you. So, Jack, you're winning races at a pace too fast for me to keep up. First of all, massive congratulations. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you for that. So my name's Jack. I'm 29 years old. I have been doing triathlon for about 6 years or so. Before that, I was mainly a middle distance runner who did a bit of swimming on the side, and a little bit of cycling for fun. And then I decided to bring it all together 6 years ago. And yeah, I've been kind of slowly progressing in the sport since then.
Very cool. Not so slowly, huh? You've been racking up the results quite nicely. So since you won 2 races in the last 2 weeks, I suggest we do a recap of both of them. Start us off with Ironman 70.3 Mallorca. Tell us about the swim.
Yeah, so it was a staggered start. We went off in kind of waves of 6, which I've never experienced before. So it was kind of self-seeded. We were all put into the pens based on your kind of predicted swim time. But then even within the pen, it was a bit of a hustle and bustle to get to the kind of front. I decided that I wanted to start near the front just because I thought faster guys would be starting near the front as well. So you're more likely to have kind of feet to swim in, speed to swim on, or a pack to swim in. However, I guess conversely to that, I wasn't sure if I started further, or people might have started further back and they might have time on me. If I potentially crossed the line first, they could have still beaten me. But yeah, so I ended up managed to get quite far to the front. Swam pretty hard for the first 400 or so, and then there's kind of a good group. Actually, the Ironman, there was a full Ironman that started before, and I think the front guys of that swim were on their second lap, and they kind of came together with us. So we ended up being in a really big group. I tried to kind of push the pace a little bit and break away, but I wasn't getting anywhere, and I was working a lot harder than I would like. So I ended up just sitting in, to be honest, and just kind of conserving energy until T2. But yeah, I was kind of pleased that I think it was a relatively fast swim for me, and I was feeling pretty fresh going onto the bike. Yeah.
Nice. So tell us about transition. Did anything eventful happen, or all smooth sailing and then out on the bike?
Pretty long transition, but I think it was pretty smooth. There was a bit of actually controversy. I don't know if any of your listeners did the race, but they put out a video the day before saying that you didn't have to wear your number on the bike. And so everyone the day before was saying, oh, we don't have to wear our number on the bike. We put it in our bag with our run stuff. But then they were saying on the day that you actually had to wear it on the bike. So there's a bit of panic and everyone's having to move their numbers around. So yeah, but anyway, I had my number in the right bag, and I hope everyone else did. But and then yeah, smooth through T1 onto the bike, and it was a long old drag up to the bottom of that climb where I think there was a couple people who I kind of towed along a little bit. Obviously, I think they were sat at the legal draft distance, but there was a bit of a group of us up to the foot of that climb. And then we caught up with the front of the pro women's race, who set off 5 minutes before us, I think. So climbed with Emma Pallant-Brown and Nicholas Berg. Kind of went past Emma. They were kind of surging and yeah, it was quite a cool little battle between them, I think, up that climb. But Nicholas Spirig ended up just destroying the second half of that climb and putting in some big numbers, I reckon. I up the climb, I averaged 360, I think, and she was right. She actually dropped me at the end of the climb, so and obviously she's a lot lighter than me. I'm pretty, quite a bit bigger, so she climbs well. But yeah, she must have been putting out some big power, I reckon. It's cool to see. Had best seat in the house, to be honest, watching the battle between them two up the climb.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then how does the rest of the bike pan out for you? Are you also conscious of the fact that you might be leading the race, or at that point you're not aware of that?
Yeah, so I thought I would have been. There was one other age group who caught up with me at the bottom of the climb, and we like climbed together. And we'd caught up with quite a few pro men as well at that point. Over the top of the climb, my plan was to I knew this guy was quite strong on the bike. It was Will Cowan, and my plan was kind of just to stick with him. But I actually dropped my chain at the top of the climb. I had one of the little chain catcher on the inside of the little ring, and the chain somehow slipped in between there and the small chain ring, and I couldn't bring it back on with the derailleur because it kind of the chain guard thing had like hooked it. So I was having to, luckily we're on the descent at this point, so I was able to just reach down and fish my chain out and get it back on the big ring without having to actually stop. So I didn't lose too much time because it was on a descent, but he was gone off down the descent, and I was behind these other two male pros, and they were descending okay, so I just thought I'd stick behind them. And I didn't put my chain back in the small ring for the rest of the race. I just thought I didn't want to risk dropping it again. So there was one other little climb that I was grinding up at like 50 RPM, but yeah, got through it. And then after that, it was kind of just as I said, myself and two other pro men, and we kind of formed a little bit of a group. We were working. I was still working pretty hard until the last kind of 10-20K when we caught up with the first age grouper again, Will Cowan. And at that point, there was a big enough. He was with a group as well, so there was kind of 6 of us in a bit of a pace line. And I just kind of sat in after that for the last like 10-15K, I think. My power for that last section would have been pretty low, which is nice to get a bit of kind of recovery going into T2. Although I think Will actually did drop off the front of that group. But I was quite far back in the pace line, so I didn't fancy just having to put in a massive surge to get past like 4 or 5 guys to go with him. I just didn't think it was really worth it. I'd rather just kind of save the legs. I knew we weren't too far from T2 at that point. So yeah, that was. Yeah. I was going to say something else. Can't remember now.
Tell us a bit about your power numbers. So you were saying that low power at the end, but what was your normalized power for the bike?
Yeah, so normalized for the whole bike was 330, I think. And I think my power meter's accurate. I did, calibrate it next to my Wahoo Kicker turbo trainer, but I am quite big, so watts per kilo is probably not as impressive as as people maybe think. I weigh over 80 kilos. So normalized 330, average was 299, I think. So for the whole race, I think if you took out that last 10K, it would have been, as I said, a little bit higher because it's definitely cruising in a bit at the end there. Yeah.
Cool. And then you're a runner, so you arrived to T2. That must be your happy place.
Yeah, you say that. I've never, up until this race, I've never actually been able to run off the bike on a 70.3. I've always just, had issues with like cramping. I think I've had to burn too many matches on the bike, and I've just not had the bike fitness to almost show my run form. But yeah, it all just seemed to come together a bit this day. I put a lot of work in on the bike over the winter, and it just seemed to allow me to be fresh enough to actually put in a good run on off the bike. As I said, I was about maybe 30 seconds down on Will Cowan going off the bike, but I bridged up to him after about 4K or so, and then just kind of held that same pace pretty much until the last of 3 laps of the run. And I decided to, I felt good, put in a bit of an effort, but I think it was a bit too soon for that because I faded again the last couple K, so probably mistimed my effort a little bit. But it's a good, overall it was a solid run and pretty well paced, apart from that last couple K, which I kind of dug a little bit too deep on the beginning of that 3rd lap. But yeah, overall.
So what was your half marathon time?
Was it 1:15:20, I think? And I think that was quite cool. An accurate course actually as well. So yeah, I was really pleased. It's good. Yeah, really pleased, as I said.
Awesome. And you mentioned before the interview that that allowed you to fulfill the criteria for the UK Pro Card.
So yeah, there's several ways you can get the Pro Card in the UK under British Triathlon, and you have to finish within a certain percentage of the winner based on how much prize money. And if you finish within I think based on this race, you could either finish within 5% and you get it outright, or you could finish within 8%, and that counts as and you have to do that twice. I finished 6%, so that counts as one of my 2. But last year I did another race where I finished within the twice criteria. So overall, I met the criteria, I guess.
Very cool. So you win the overall age group, you get your Pro Card, and then you go back to the UK and then follow it up with a race in Nottingham. So tell us about that race.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever done any races in the UK, have you?
Yeah, I did a couple, but a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, so it's quite a different road surface, I'll say. Going back to the UK, bit bumpy up in Nottingham, a few potholes, but it's really pleased with that performance. If anything, I'd say I kind of had a better performance at Nottingham than I did in Mallorca. So yeah, really pleased with that one.
Nice, and I saw that you did a 3:52, which is quite a good time, huh? So, what was your time, by the way, in Mallorca?
Mallorca was
overall
4:12, I think. Obviously, with the bikes
quite
a bit slower. Yeah, the bikes, it's like 2. All that time is basically on the bike, I think. But yeah, I was actually a bit gutted because at Outlaw they put up £1,500 prize money or bonus if you got the course record, which was 3:51:40, I think. And I went a 3:52:27, so I was like 45 seconds off.
Bummer.
Yeah, but it's always the way, isn't it? I mean, if I said before the race that I was going to do a 3:52, I would have been I wouldn't even have believed it. So I can't be, you always want more though as triathletes, don't you? Or as athletes in general, I think you always want a little bit more. But yeah, no, I'm so happy with the result. Surprised myself, to be honest.
So what's next for you this season? Are you going to 70.3 Worlds?
So I need to reassess, to be honest. I'm hoping to get on maybe get on a few of the pro start lines. And just get in the mix, try and hang on, see what that's like. I'll probably get dropped, after the first 10 meters of the swim and be back in the no, yeah. So I'm not sure exactly what races I'm going to do, but there's a few British races with pro start lines, so it makes sense to do them. I think just local, don't have to travel so far. But I would like to do a few abroad again. It's always nice to go somewhere with smoother roads and a bit of a warmer climate.
Very cool. So you're transitioning over to pro basically, and then if you're not that successful, we might see you back in the category.
Exactly. I mean, as I said before the podcast, I just kind of like racing the best guys. I'm not under any illusion that I'm going to be mixing up at the front, but I'd love to compare myself against the best guys, and that means racing in the pro race. So gonna give it a go, see what happens.
Very cool. So wishing you all the best for your pro career. I think a lot of age groupers out there will be delighted not to have to compete against you anymore. So really was great chatting with you. Congrats on both your race victories. Really impressive. And hope to see a lot of great things from you in the pro field.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's never done a podcast before, so I hope it's all right. But it's an absolute honor that people want to listen to me if they have got this far.
Absolutely. I think you might want to start getting used to them with these type of performances. So
we'll
talk
see.
To you later.
We will see. Cheers.
Ciao.
Bye.